All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Rob, filling in for Mike this morning. Thanks for jumping on the call with us. I'm the marketing director here at Century 21 Connect Realty. And part of my job as marketing director is to help you get the word out about you and your business to help you sell more homes. So, in that, in that vein, I'm a big proponent of something that Mike says quite a lot around here, and that is, and what else can we do? So we, over the Christmas break, took that phrase and ran with it, and we built the room that I'm sitting in right now. For those of you that are watching this on video, this is our Century 21 Connect Realty podcast studio. It's podcast and video studio. There have been quite a few videos made in this room in the last couple of weeks. You do need to be trained up on the room, and I'm going to talk about that training in just a minute and how you get access to that. But I wanted to talk first a little bit about podcasts in general. So most people know, but if you don't, podcast is a combination of the word broadcast and iPod. It was created by Apple and Steve Jobs back some years ago, and when the iPod was popular. And up to this date, as of January 2023, the latest statistics from Statista and most of the well-known statistics and tracking platforms, 78% of the United States, 78% is aware of and knows how to access podcasts. That's a huge number. They took that number 2 years after it was rolled out, and that number was 11%. That was around 2006. So since then, it's gone to almost 80%. 8 out of 10 people know of podcasts and how to access them. And a statistic that I find incredibly important, especially in Atlanta, now that's of the United States. In Atlanta, 22% of people, I'm sorry, let me back up. Nationwide, 22% of people listen to podcasts while driving. Long commutes in Atlanta, long commutes. So I would not be surprised and almost guarantee you that number is much higher in Atlanta. So do you have to have a podcast? Do you have to become the next Serial or the next, Joe Rogan experience? No, you don't. And that's not what we're suggesting or not what we're saying. What we're saying is it is another one of those touch points that is gaining traction, gaining numbers, gaining ears, and you do not want to be left out of it. You do not want to be the real estate agent or the realtor that is not doing that when ones around you are. And it is becoming increasingly crucial that you take a shot at it. Now, if you're not one of those people who can speak long form on a topic or have a desire to do so, or have a plethora of guests lined up, then you don't have to do that. You can make shorter video podcasts in this room as well. That is why we went to the extremes that we did to make this room look incredibly cool and make it sound amazing. It sounds great in here when you are using this microphone in front of me, running through the system and recording the audio. You can have up to 3 guests in our podcast studio, you and 2 other people, so 3 people total. You can Bluetooth your device into the console, your iPhone or your Android or iPad or whatever, and play either content that you've recorded back or take live phone calls. It is not something where you can just walk in and sit down and take over immediately and run with it unless you've used a Rodecaster Pro 2. And if you have, then come see me because a lot of people have a lot of questions. It'd be good to have you on my team. If you have not, I will train you up and get you running on it. It is not incredibly complicated, but it's like driving someone else's car. You get in it. You're looking for okay, how do I put it in drive in this car? Where's the turn signals? It's the same kind of thing. I got to get you used to that. If you want to get trained up on it, and you should, you should definitely reach out to me and get on my calendar. You can find that on Brokerment in the upper right-hand side. It says Rob's calendar. Get on that calendar, find you a spot, and I will train you up. The first training in here takes about 25 minutes. And after that, I will be in here with you for your first 5, 6, 7, 8 shots at using it. And once you are good to go, and I see you running this thing like a well-oiled machine in here, then you'll be off and running on your own, and you can use it whenever you want to. If you want to talk about ideas, come see me about that. Now, that is the technical portion of this. There is also the actual, well, what do I do with my audio once I have it? That's a separate meeting, and there are several platforms out there to use. One in particular that I recommend is Buzzsprout, BUZZSPROUT.com, Buzzsprout. It will then take your podcast, your audio, and your artwork, and your keywords and everything, title, description, and it will then push that out to Apple Podcast and Spotify, which, by the way, those two right there, Apple Podcast and Spotify, those two comprise almost 60% of all podcasts right there. Everything else has 2, 3, 2, 1% down the line statistically. So make sure you're on those two, Apple Podcast and Spotify. It's not as daunting as you might think it is, or you might feel like you think it is. Once you sit down with me, I cannot tell you how many aha moments we've had in this room in the last 4 weeks. When people sit down, they see it, they put the headphones on, they hear themselves through the system, they hear the other components of audio through the system, and then all of a sudden the little bell goes off. They're like, wow, that's incredible. Yes, now they want to use it. That's what we want to get you in here, experience it, and you will love it, and you will want to use it. So if you have any questions about our podcast studio, by the way, the room across the room, I'm looking at the green screen over there. Yes, it's still a green screen studio as well. You can come in, turn the lights around, and use them on the green screen. If you want to use the podcast or video studio, get on my calendar. Come by and see me. Let's get you all set up and get you hooked up. And it's going to be a tool that you can help market yourself with, help you sell more homes, stay competitive, and nail that phrase that I always preach to Mike and everyone else, that frequency builds familiarity. This is another component of frequency building familiarity. And if we do that, like Mike says, that's how we go out and make it happen for ourselves today.